have chosen to test this station's destructive power on your home planet of Alderaan. Then name the Sith Order.
Bulky religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blast. Like we're coming up on Alderaan.
You may fire when ready.
Welcome to the unofficial countdown to the Last Jedi podcast, the best one in the Oceania's Alderaan explosion. I'm Dylan Blight. Today's joining me once again, Ashley Hobley, Ciaran Marchant.
Yeah, I'm here.
And we're here to talk some Star Wars.
Greetings.
Greetings, sir. This week we'll be going over Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and as we all watched that this week, that was our watching material for this week. And then I want to talk about what it means, what it needs to be in actual Star Wars movies versus what's in extended universe material. So, in other words, what information needs to be in movies and what information is fine with just being left in extended universe material like books and stuff like that. And is there information that you have come across that has been in the extended universe material that you felt could have been left into movies? And then at the end of the show, we'll talk about the 46 second, whatever it was, trailer that came out, the Last Jedi one, because that's only like Last Jedi big news that's come out. Actually, Kathleen Kennedy, one little tidbit. I'll save my favorite tidbit of the week until the end of the show, but there is a really great tidbit to go over. Okay, so let's kick off with this. Episode 3, we've all watched it.
We did. We got through it.
What does everyone think of Episode 3 in general? Because I'm going to come out straight away and say that I actually really enjoy Episode 3. Like, it's only one of the prequel movies where I'm like, I could watch this movie fine. Like, I have no problems watching it at all.
It's the best of the three.
I don't know. I'm always conflicted. I don't know why. I'm always conflicted if I like Episode 3 or not. And I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Really?
I don't
is
know
it
what
just
it
that
is.
prequel hate, like boiling over?
No, it's not the prequel hate, because I enjoyed... When we watched Clone Wars wasn't as bad as I remembered. I actually enjoyed watching Phantom. So I don't know why I feel this way about... And I've always felt this way about the third one. Ever since it came out and I first watched it, I felt really weird about it. I didn't know if I really enjoyed it or if I didn't. Because I think this movie has to do the most work in... Well, previously, before Rogue One came out, this one had to do the most work of, kind of linking it to where New Hope starts. And... I don't know. It's really weird. I think I just dislike Anakin a lot. I wish Anakin's character had been written a lot better.
Don't we all? But it is what it is.
Even just I don't even think it's Hayden Christensen that bothers me. I think it's just how the character's story arc develops and how
a lot of people's problems with Hayden Christensen can be boiled down to two very simple things: George Lucas's writing and George Lucas's directing.
Yeah, I think so, because I feel like the Darth Vader character that we met and learnt more about throughout the original 3 movies could have been built on so much more. And I think this movie, I don't know why, I feel like this movie, and I think maybe once, because I've been watching a lot of Clone Wars the last week and a half now. When we came back
on that train.
When we came back, I literally smashed through 15 episodes when I was feeling sick the other day. So I think with that information, I'm starting to feel a bit better. But I feel like the transition from, Anakin Phantom Menace to Anakin End of Revenge of the Sith into Darth Vader, I feel is really...
Doesn't feel earned.
It doesn't feel
too
earned.
Fast.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, there was these seedlings of it happening in episode 2, and then episode 3 comes along, and it's like, bam, it's all happening. He's killing children. He's killing younglings. He's doing all this stuff.
I agree from the just the movie perspective. I think if you watch all of Clone Wars, by the time you get to watching, if there was any movie that the entirety of the Clone Wars animated series helps tenfold, it is episode 3.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the problems you're saying, it doesn't feel earned, you don't have him build gradually to getting to this, the Clone Wars animated series, does that for you.
Yeah, yeah.
You get to slowly see him, the dark every now and then have these slight little, dark moments, spread throughout all those seasons of shows that by the time you reach this movie, it makes way more sense. and lots of things in this movie don't make sense until the Clone Wars animated series. It's a blessing and a curse because like I love this movie a lot more after having watched all the Clone Wars. I liked it before fine. I was like, this is fine. But by the time when you rewatch this once you've watched all the Clone Wars, it's like, oh.
Okay, that's a fair point. But I guess my only thing for this, for the say this case study of a podcast we're doing, when we're doing that, should we be looking at it as an individual movie when we're talking about the movie? Because if we're talking about just the movie, it's poor movie writing or movie direction. If you have to have a TV show that helps explain why the movie is this way, if that makes sense.
That's why I separate it. Like, taking away the TV show, I still think it's a okay movie, and it's definitely the best of all the prequels. And even without the TV show, I could watch it fine. I don't know what my score would be, like a 6.5 or 7. I don't know. Like, it's fine. Like, without the fight scene at the end, it'd probably be a lot lower. But like the end lightsaber battle, like bumps it up so fucking much to me. So it's like, but by the time you add on all the TV show, I mean, we're not doing a proper review solely on the thing.
We're not doing a review, but I just want to, I guess from my perspective, as well as maybe the audience perspective, I just wanted to make sure I knew where you sat on the movie itself, because you said you loved it, and then I'm just double checking it where...
I love it these days.
And you've loved it because you've had that experience with Clone Wars, correct? Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to flesh out.
Ash, what's your thoughts on it?
No, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's kind of the payoff to all the build-up of the whole prequels. Seeing Darth Vader finally become Darth Vader. Obviously, there's some really hard parts to watch. Pretty much anything with Padme is like cringeworthy.
Can we?
They kill it. They destroy her character in this movie, basically.
Yeah.
They destroy a character, but can we also agree that it's Padme's fault? The whole Star Wars is Padme's fault. I'm going to keep calling her Padme because I don't care about her. Shut up and leave me
Star
alone.
Wars names.
I feel super self-conscious since you pointed it out to me.
I didn't point it out the first time.
Who did? It was Jack, maybe?
Someone pointed it out
somebody
on our extra live stream. And I was like, it's Padme. And then he was like, oh, I never knew. And I was like, I realised it. I just didn't point it out to you.
So Padme... We all agreed that it's Padme's fault. She's the reason for the Star Wars. It's all her fault.
Yeah, she shouldn't have boned that kid.
Like she should have known that kid was too young for her.
She should have stayed on the ship.
No,
when they're on Tatooine.
Even watching Clone Wars, Anakin is a good Jedi, or what I would presume to be a good Jedi, until any time she's involved. Anytime she's involved, he's just like, nah, F the rules, I'm doing it. Nah, I don't care.
It's what love does to you, man.
Yeah,
the Jedi say don't get attachments. Yeah. Never fall in love with a woman or a man or whatever your preference.
I'm just saying.
Take you to dark side.
It's her fault, correct?
I mean, I don't want to put all the blame on her, no.
Most of it.
This is victim blaming.
Anakin's at fault. He should have not turned to the dark side.
Yeah, why are we blaming her?
Stop victim blaming, Ciaran.
That's what I just... Yeah, stop victim
I'm going to keep going on it, because he turned to that dark side because he felt he wasn't strong enough to protect her.
Yeah.
That's on him.
No, it's not.
People like do mass murderers because they think they're doing it for gold and all sorts of weird shit.
That's a bit different.
Doesn't make it right.
That's different. I'm just saying. If she didn't exist,
no, it
he'd
sounds
be
pretty
sweet.
much the same.
He'd be fine.
God. All right. I'm gonna run down through my notes, that I wrote as I was watching the movie. So as we'll kind of go through it, if we reach a point where anyone thinks of something, jump in. The first thing I noticed, was something I never realized, and I had to Google to double check. Grievous, when he runs into Anakin, when General Grievous runs into Anakin and they meet on the ship at the start of the movie. By the way, that first opening ship fight, really great. That's another great part of this movie. Like seeing those two flying those ships really through, cool. Like all the ships fighting around and exploding and stuff like that. That's actually something that you don't actually have much of in Star Wars until Rogue One.
And I really
not counting
enjoyed
like the Death Star fight, which is a bunch of dog fights. This is like a bunch of big ships and stuff like that.
And I enjoyed the banter. I enjoyed the banter.
Yeah, and the banter. Yeah, it's a really great opening scene. When Anakin runs into Grievous, Grievous says something along the lines of, it's nice to finally meet you. I thought you'd be older or something like that. And I was like, yeah, they never, like, I was like, suddenly I'm like, oh, Clone Wars animated series. I'm like, yeah, they never meet. I was trying to think, I'm like, did they ever meet? Did they fuck up? And I like take to Google, like, did Anakin ever meet Grievous in the Clone Wars series? And apparently and I remember the episode, I was like, fuck, that's funny. There's an episode in the Clone Wars where they nearly meet, like they trade, like Grievous is like a prisoner basically, and Anakin's like a prisoner on the other side, and they do like a whole trade prisoner thing, but Anakin's like face down, being dragged across the floor as Grievous goes past, and he like never sees him. And it's the closest they ever come into running into each other. It's just like one of those really weird things, because this line's in the movie where he's like, oh, I've never met you, and then they do the Clone Wars animated series, and they make sure that they never meet, like, so that line's never fucked up, which I just appreciate. Yeah. Like it's they pay attention to the continuity.
Important
continuity
question.
Of it.
What the hell is Grievous?
Grievous is a droid.
He's a cyborg.
He's a cyborg droid. Yeah, he's not like a human or anything. He's a.
Because the first thing I wrote down was, why does a robot have a cough?
No, because he's got fleshy parts. Like if you look in his eye sockets, it's got flesh in there.
Well, that wasn't clear to start off with. That's the strange thing. Just throw Grievous is major villain at the start of the film. No fanfare or anything.
Yeah, no, that's one of my complaints about this movie, is that they introduce Grievous and they introduce a new character, Grievous, and they kill off the big bag they introduced in like the last quarter of the last movie, and it makes no sense. They're like, here's Count Dooku, big battle, kill him off fast. He's a droid guy. Why?
No, it's just do they handle Star Wars in a whole handles all minor bad guys very poorly. And I'm talking like minor in like the grand scheme of things. So they handle the Emperor and Darth Vader fine, but you know, Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Darth Maul, Count Dooku, General Grievous are all terrible. They're all really bad. Like, they're not... Like, Count Dooku, you see, it, like, he gets a big section at the end of 2, and then, like, the first few scenes of 3, he dies. And it's like, what? Like, how?
Yeah.
Why is this a thing?
Yeah. This is the opening scene of... Because... The opening scene of episode 3 is definitely one of those scenes where, once again, I'm just going to say, it is way better after watching the Clone Wars. Because you've seen Obi-Wan fight Dooku several times and stuff. You've seen Obi-Wan run in and fight Grievous several times. You've seen, like, this history of these characters and stuff be built up. Introductions. You've seen him get hurt. I think that's why he has the cough. Like they fixed that in the animated series by having him like get injured, and it's like that's why he has the cough, because he doesn't have the cough at the start of the Clone Wars. So they fix all these really weird things, give all these characters history, and then you see them clash here, and it's like, oh, this is all making more sense. But yeah, when you separate it and you just judge it solely on the movie
which is
factor,
how it was, you know, when it was initially released. This is how it was.
Star Wars is one of those things, though, to me that is constantly like, is constantly being improved and fixed or whatever, retconned, and it like just gets better, and you have to take that into account.
Okay.
You can't, like, it's fine to just be like, yeah, but as a movie, it's like this. It's like, yeah, but to me, it's a lot better because I've watched all the Star Wars as a property. The more you invest your time into, the more you put effort into, the better a lot of the stuff gets.
I guess that's my fault in the way I look at Star Wars, because I compare Star Wars to, even though they both were, you know, brought out later in terms of, you know, like development, but for me as a human being, they all kind of came into my life at the same time. Like, I put Star Wars on the same level for me as Lord of the Rings and the Harry Potter series, where both of those two series, like Lord of the Rings was pretty much everything set in stone because Tolkien's dead, and nobody's really gone through and changed anything since then. And J.K. Rowling was making Harry Potter at the same time and working directly with the director to make sure. I guess, yeah, Thingamy was the director and everything, but Do you think he had the stories that were Clone Wars before this movie was made, or did he make this movie?
I think George had them in his head to some degree, because he always wanted to do the animated series afterwards.
Okay, and so do you think he, after this movie came out and they started doing Clone Wars, do you think somebody went through with a fine-tooth comb on this movie and went, right, we need to answer this question, this question, this question, this question that Star Wars fans have all the time? Like,
I think...
Or
I
do
don't
you
think like it's like they set out to answer questions. It's just like they can and will where they can, and it's no different to even these days where it's like they leave they set out to make The Force Awakens. They do the whole thing where they put Phasma in a trash compactor, and they never think like forward to the other end of that. Like, how do we explain how she got out of there and off the planet so she can be in Episode 8? And it's like people just constantly are forgetting these things they need to fix. So it's like, oh, we fixed that in a comic. And it's like other random characters and things that happen, even in The Force Awakens, it's like they're just fixing them in other spin-off things. It's like just a constant, and especially with a franchise like this that's known for the fine details being like fixed in extended universe material. Well, not even fixed, like just explained. I think it makes them lazier. And that's how it's always been.
Do you think this is obviously it's a good thing for, super Star Wars fans like yourself, and slowly, like me, by osmosis of being near you, like being dragged into it and learning more because of your excitement and hype. Like, I'll admit, since we started doing the show, my intake of Star Wars media has grown very highly. And so
dark side.
Is it a negative that for those, say, the normal Star Wars moviegoers that only are going to ever watch the movies, it's a negative for them, isn't it correct? Like, it's still, they don't
all right, this is basically what I was going to bring up later, so let's just jump into it now.
Okay.
Like, it was going to be my whole question about like what's important to be in Star Wars movies versus what's in the extended material. Because Michael C on Twitter tweeted me this article today. He's like, you should talk about this. And I'm like, I don't really want to talk about this, but it does relate to a topic I had written down that we could possibly talk about anyway. Because the article he linked was like, Luke never... The backstory of like the history between Luke and... Like, for all the years he was disappeared between episode 6 and 7. That's basically not going to be explained in episode 8. It'll probably be explained in books and comics and whatever the fuck else. And everyone's like, oh, this is crap. Like, how are we going to blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I read this, I'm just like, and my mum, my dad, whoever else, like normal movie-going folk who enjoy watching Star Wars movies, sure. They'll go watch episode 8, and they probably won't think twice about wondering what the hell Luke's been up to. They'll just watch it for 2.5 hours or whatever it is and be like, cool, Luke's on my screen. I don't care what he was doing. They'll use a throwaway line. I've been training people, and then I trained people, and then all the people I trained got killed by Kylo Ren, and that's it. And it's like, well, that's enough to explain it.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
However, to the more hardcore people, obviously like me and whoever else, I'm like, what was you doing every day of the week the entire time I haven't seen you, Luke? What have you been up to? Tell me everything.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you think that like how much effort start with the Luke thing. How much information on Luke do you think needs to be in episode 8? And like what kind of material could they leave out that would annoy you? Like if like 6 months after episode 8 they release a book and it tells X information or story or something like that, would there be anything that pisses you off? Like, oh, that should have been in the movie. Like,
I guess as long as there's some kind of something built on. I think my most important section of that period of time for Luke would be how his relations with Han Solo, Leia, and their child. How did that grow and what happened with that over the years? I think that's my only bit that I'm desperately like I need to understand, or I need to know like what happened and what did they go through. I guess I couldn't, other stuff could be easily solved, like I went away and found all these Jedi temples of old, or I started, training new younglings, or so on and so forth. Like, how... That's the only one that, for me, is the big sticking point, is I want to know how his relationships with those people, how they progressed over those... Is it 18 years? 18-year period?
30 years between...
Is it 30? Sorry, 30.
Yeah. Between episode 6 and 7.
Yeah. Okay, 30. Yeah.
How about you, Ash?
No. I mean, it'd be great to know those sort of things, but I think whatever they decide to do in the movie would be best for the story of the movie. Everything else is just... Yeah. That's what they're banking on, you wanting to know those fine details to extend that universe. So all those books, comics, straight to DVD, animated movies.
Straight to DVD. Even if it's just they explain Luke's relationship with Kylo Ren and like how his relationship was before everything went bad, I think that's probably the main point that needs to be.
Well, we basically know why Kylo went bad, like what his breaking point was. They've already hinted at it in one of the books already. There's a book from about Leia, like 2 years before Force Awakens, where it's basically just Leia dealing with the bloodlines. Yeah, it's basically her just like doing a bunch of political stuff and shit like this. And spoilers for Bloodlines, it came out like 2 years ago. I don't know, fucking ages ago. Towards the end of the book, like the opposition political party, because Mon Mothma's getting sick, and they're like, oh, she's probably gonna die. We're probably going to need to put someone else in charge, basically. And then, of course, what happens is like two political... As someone who like really loves the political aspect of Star Wars universe, this book was all over my jam. So then basically two political parties start up, and Leia's on one side, obviously, and there's other people on the other side. And Leia's like the front runner to be like elected on one side. And someone on the other side, basically members of the First Order, before the First Order's like properly started, like, but it's kind of beginning. They find out that she was Darth Vader's daughter. And like she's kept this information secret since episode 6, which is another question. Like, of course, people didn't really think about coming out of episode 6. It's like, who actually knows that Luke and Leia are like the big bad Vader's son and daughter? It's like, no one. They kept that shit secret. The only people that know are like Han and whoever the fuck else. It's like that wasn't information they wanted to really make public. And someone finds out that, and they start putting up like propaganda posters, like with, you know, like Vader helmets over her face, all sorts of fucked up shit like this, basically to ruin her political aspects. And this news travels across the galaxy to wherever Luke and Kylo are together training, and Kylo finds out that this information is being kept secret, and he does a little teenage dummy spit. This is basically how it goes. Don't know exactly what happens, but yeah, he wasn't the biggest fan of Mummy and Daddy keeping this information secret from him.
Okay.
That his grandfather was the most powerful being, whatever you want to call it, that like that you read about in history books and whatever stuff like that. Wasn't the biggest fan. But yeah, they're off training at that point, so we know Luke's training Kylo and whoever else at this point. But it's like, even that information, like that's a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's like, did that information need to be in The Force Awakens? And I'm like, no. It didn't, because most people wouldn't even think to ask that question. Like, it's not necessary. Because the other thing about the Star Wars movies is, yeah, you do need them to be accessible, pulpy, fun-going movies because everyone watches Star Wars. Basically, everyone watches Star Wars.
They expect the audience to take it at face value as this guy's being presented as a bad guy, this guy's being presented as a good guy. Take it at that and keep going. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think the general cinema-going audience, when they watch Force Awakens, was like, oh, I need big explanations as to why he's like this. Like most people weren't thinking that. Is there anything that you can think of? I'll start with you, Ash. Is there anything that you can think of that you know of, or like I've said, or in general that you know, or we've discovered over the last couple of weeks, that you're like, oh, that information probably should have been in the movies?
No, not really. Maybe Ahsoka, just so you'd be happy, but have her in the
I
movies.
wish Ahsoka was in. Yeah, put Ahsoka in the movie. Give Ahsoka her own live action movie. That's the day I cried. Like, I just... they did
Once they've
And then-
finished the Boba Fett and the Jabba the Hutt movie and the
Fuck
Jabba
all
the
this
Hutt
shit.
guys in the
Do you reckon would they? I don't know.
the guys in the
Those are
bar,
questions
no,
I'll
the
ask.
guys in the Cantina movie.
I don't want to hear this
Then
shit.
they'll do it.
How about you, Ciaran?
I guess now after the previous couple weeks of talks and watching Clone Wars more in depth with a more analytical brain, or with me taking in the information a lot better, just makes me wish they had written the movies better. Like,
But that's not
I
new
wish-
information.
No, but
Yeah.
just like for me, the pacing now, I wish it should, and we've mentioned it in a previous episode. I wish that like Phantom Menace got into the Clone Wars maybe, and then that the second movie was just Clone Wars, and then was just
Yeah.
more some of the more important sections of the Clone Wars series, and then we had I wish the whole Clone Wars it hadn't been missed by the
Yeah.
movies. I think that was
That's
my biggest
my
thing.
biggest. Yeah, that's my biggest change. Get rid of Phantom Menace, and you dedicate a movie to telling, like, in the middle of the Clone Wars. It is so weird. I still don't understand it. It's the one thing about all these all the complaints about the prequels, and people say the biggest complaints like Hayden and whatever else. My biggest complaint is always that they end one movie being like, war is here, and then they start the second movie after that being like, war's over.
It's all done. We fixed it.
What?
did it.
You missed
It's
it
all
all.
good.
I ended it.
Yeah.
You know those.
fucking
You know those.
weird.
Like remember those Federation guys? They're gone. They're just.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Just-
Don't worry
they're
about them.
fucking-
Don't worry about those.
Don't worry about that.
You know, it's
We'll sort that
This
out
guy who
later.
chopped Anakin's hand off.
Yeah, fuck
We'll
that.
kill him in the first 20
We'll
minutes.
kill him in the first 20 minutes, yeah.
not that important. He's a metal guy that's going to be Obi-Wan's adversary for the next half of this movie.
Yeah.
Just
Um,
be careful.
Yeah, I was like, my second note here after the clap for them not fucking up having Anakin meet Grievous and the thing is like, it's still silly how fast and quick they introduce Grievous and Dooku over 2 films and then have them not do much. I really like Episode 3 in general. I think it's a good movie and has lots going for it, but it's definitely a lot better having watched the Clone Wars. There you go.
So everything we've talked about so far. In the,
Everything we've talked about.
Good work, Dylan.
And so I'm glad that I was able to prompt that response for you anyway. I'm glad.
Yeah. We got there naturally.
We got there naturally. It was something. It lets you know that you're not like the only person thinking this. That there is
Yes.
that even somebody watching it for the
One other
first time
person.
analytically has already taken on this information, which is probably good.
My next note after that was, this is a bit further when Yoda's talking to Anakin after they arrive back on Coruscant. I just wrote, Jedi rules are so stupid when Yoda is just like, don't fear loss, let people die, champ.
Look,
Which is, it's such a
Here's
such
a
a
good
weird
question.
scene.
Can
Yeah.
can a Jedi leave the Jedi Order?
Yeah, Ahsoka
Because
did.
Anakin should have just left.
He can. He could leave. Ahsoka left the Jedi Order.
yeah, she was just like, peace out.
Then why didn't he?
She's like, yeah, I mean, it's I have no idea.
I think it was because he still has like a. I think it's because of the prophecy that looms over his head.
I think everything is leaps over his head.
Yeah, the prophecy that looms over his head at all times makes him think that he needs to get stronger and needs to get more powerful.
It's like if he leaves, where's he go?
Yeah, where does he go? What does he do? He's been a slave his
Yeah.
entire life. He went from one type of slavery to quote unquote another type of slavery.
Yeah, it's like with someone like
Just
Anakin,
becomes an average mechanic.
Do they know what freedom is? Can they operate under their own like freedom?
Yeah.
And he never does. Like, it's so fun. Yeah, when you think about Anakin's life, it's like slave to the Jedi Order, and then slave to Darth Sidious, death.
Yeah.
That's his life. that is Anakin's. That is his whole life.
And when we're talking about the rules, like nobody actually cared about the Jedi Order's rules, except for maybe like Mace Windu, because every Jedi broke them at some point because they were just like
Most of them
Even
did,
he was the one who was going to kill Darth Sidious without a trial or anything.
Yeah.
Mace
That was
Windu's a
Yoda,
weird
like,
one. Mace Windu, I always find that character more fascinating now that I've had. Going back to your point about stuff in the extended universe, now that I've had Grey Jedi's explained to me, and that whole kind of thing, and that Mace Windu was supposed to be one of those, apparently, wasn't he? I might be...
He's not really. Everyone just like... I mean, to me, he's the most Jedi. He's... Apart from the purple lightsaber, he's like the most strict, follow the rules Jedi. Just
Played
sticks
by
to
Samuel L. Jackson.
Played by Samuel. Get these motherfucking Dark Lords off this motherfucking planet.
Yeah, it was...
They've put out a comic book about him, but I haven't read it yet. There's only like a couple issues, but there is like a Mace Windu comic out now.
Did he survive?
No, this is a prequel. This is like during episode 1. Like, what was he up to then?
Would it surprise you if it ever came out that he survived? Because everybody survives the long drop.
Yes, no, they don't all survive.
Everybody survives the long drop.
People actually die in Star Wars. People
No.
Both his hands?
They die if they die.
Do you have anything
if
to grab with?
See them get stabbed. If they like get stabbed and then fall off a cliff or fall off the edge of a giant tube, they're surviving.
No, most characters that survive are dark people, like dark side users, and it's like we'll talk about Anakin later, but there is like an explanation as to why Anakin could even survive that.
I know
my
that.
next note
Isn't that the dark one?
My next my next note was all the Plagueis the wise stuff. This is when Palpatine's talking to Anakin in the political place there or whatever. All the Plagueis the wise stuff is the closest to extended universe material they get in the films, which it probably is because they never mention a lot of the really big like Old Republic, Darth Bane, all these fucking characters' names that are floating around, and they mention some of them in the Clone Wars series, and they mention them in the books and whatever else these days, and even back then they was mentioning these characters in books and stuff like that. This is like the only time in any of the movies they mention one of these big like characters that are in the history of the Jedi and the Sith and stuff like that. They mention like one of their names on the thing, which is I always find like a cool moment in the movie. A character that people want them to do, that a lot of people want there to be like a movie on or a book or something. Like it's a character people always want to know more about, especially because it would be like a prequel to Palpatine, I guess, like his origin story, because you could tell a story all about Plagueis the Wise and like little young Palpatine and whatever the fuck else. Like it's a story people want to see, and it's just like they give this slight little hint in the thing.
Why
in
does
this movie about it?
Why isn't there a point where Anakin just clicks at what the fuck is going on, and why doesn't he just get really pissed off that he's been lied to this entire time? Like, why isn't there this like clicking point?
Blinded by the dark side, he is.
Like, but it's so. But yeah, I guess because it's just.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's literally what they say.
Yeah,
Blinded by the dark.
there should be this clicking point where it's like, wait a fucking second, you're one of these bad douchebags. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he does click to
Well,
it
he sort of
eventually, and he
figures
pulls
it
out his
out
lightsaber.
eventually.
He points it at him, and he
Like-
goes,
When he straight out tells
need
him,
you.
I know stuff about the dark side.
"Yeah."
Then
yeah,
it clicks.
but it clicks, but there's no, everything. Anakin's a very angry person, but that was like the most non-angry.
He's very powerful.
accepting-
He's not very smart.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
God damn it.
So is it true that
Wookiee
the
stuff?
dark side can create life and stuff? Or was he just...
Nah, that's a whole bunch of
bullshitting it?
bullshit. Yeah, that's a whole bunch of bullshit. Like, unless they add that in, as far as I'm concerned, that's a whole bunch of lies.
know.
Why would
How
the
was
dark side
Anakin
use
born?
a lie to... No, Palpatine, he fucking lies several times in this movie. He lies all the time to Anakin. He even lies to him right at the end of the movie where he tells him that he killed fucking Padme. Like, he's constantly lying to
did.
him. And he even lies to him further. Like,
did.
there's a really good, like, Lords of the Sith, which is one of the now canon books, and it's probably one of the better ones, and it's mainly about Vader and Palpatine. They get stranded on a planet together, and they have to like work their way off the planet, and you get to see Palpatine and Vader's relationship together and then fight together and stuff like that. Even throughout that, it's just like he's constantly fucking with him. Like Palpatine will just fuck with Vader. Like he'll test him. Even after years and years later, it's like he's just constantly like, just fucking with you. I just lied to you about. Like you can tell he lies and he uses him, and that's all he's ever done to Anakin ever since he was a small child. Just constantly abusing that poor child. My next note was the Wookiee stuff always seems random. Like, oh, that planet Kashyyyk. That's really the planet we're gonna pick Yoda to go save. But it's basically just George doing what he wanted to do in episode 6, but he never got to. Like the fucking Ewoks was supposed to be the planet full of Wookiees, and that was how episode 6 was supposed to end. It's supposed to be a whole bunch of Wookiees fighting the fucking troopers, but they couldn't do it at the time.
You're telling me we could have got a Christmas special that's centered around Wookiees?
Yeah.
God
Well, we kind of did.
They kind of did.
But then we wouldn't have got Ewoks, so everything
Yeah, we
works out
wouldn't
for
have got
us.
Ewoks.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, we can't do Kashyyyk, so we'll change it to this other planet and we'll make up Ewoks. But now years later, he gets to do episode 3. He's like, how should I end this movie? Fuck, I can do that. I can finally do that whole planet of Wookiee battle scene. It's because it just seems
like
really
6
random.
Wookiees
It's like,
on screen.
Really? Yeah. It's like, well, they have that one shot of them all like, "Arr!" and it's like, of course, Chewie's one of the ones that's with him. I'm like, of course.
So how old is
Of course it's
Chewie then?
Oh, Chewie, he is like several hundred years. Yeah.
But he's got very bad anger issues when it comes to chess.
Yeah. Wookiees live for, I don't know, like 1,000 years, maybe 800 years. Wookiees live for such a... This is one of the saddest things you can ever tell someone. Wookiees live for so long that Han's life is like a speck of time with Chewie that he'll probably move on and forget. Just break everyone's
Wow,
hearts.
Dylan.
It's true.
Yes,
Like he spends like a very small, like in the scale of Chewbacca's life, he spends a total of a very small amount of his actual time with him.
But people can spends a short period of time with you and have a large impact.
Oh
on
my
you.
Yeah,
god,
no.
Ashley.
I'm just saying.
It's Ashley's reason for being on this podcast is to come up with like inspirational like quotes to solve moments. Going back quickly to the Mace Windu fight.
Oh my fucking god! Yeah, okay.
Quickly,
Yeah.
just super quickly. They like.
I mean, we didn't actually get to it. We jumped ahead, but yeah, go back.
Didn't we
and
just
forth.
talk about it? Like we kind of.
We did.
We talked about.
We
Okay,
kinda.
I'll wait till we get
Go,
there.
go.
I'll wait till we get there. That's fine.
Okay, because I was about to say we can come back to it in a little bit.
No.
We're only up to Chewbacca. I wrote down it's funny how much time is spent on the clones never get characterization in this movie or in the second movie. Like there's that one time where Obi-Wan right at the end of the movie is like, "Thank you, Cody," and that's the one time they name one of them. But they spend so much time in the Clone Wars animated series making sure every single one of those troopers have their own personality, names, squad relationships, and so much stuff that it's the one thing that annoys me watching this movie. I'm like, oh, it's like after watching Clone Wars, you're like, they just kind of waste them all here. Like they really just use them as clones. Like none of them have.
Do they all look the same in the Clone Wars show?
Yeah,
They all look the same, but they're very different personalities. So, Dylan, I just watched, and not to spoil it for people who are going to go watch the Clone Wars because we talk about it so much on the show. I just watched the episode in season 1 with Slicks, and I found that episode very fascinating almost because it is such a like clones in that episode do things that you didn't expect that clone could do and stuff like that. Like,
Do they burn each other?
No, they don't.
no, but like Slicks' character is very interesting to see that development happen. So, sorry, I'm being cryptic. I want to spoil shit.
Yeah, it's fine. They but they're just kind of watching episode 3. It's just every time it's like, they're just plain face clones. They never go to the effort to even make them appear or sound different or anything like that. And it's so funny because you could be like, oh yeah, but it's the same actor doing them all in the movie, Dylan. How are they supposed to be different? In the animated series, it's the same voice actor voicing every single one of them, yet he manages to like make them sound a little bit different and add different personality to them and stuff like that.
He has whole episodes just to himself, but he'll play like
Yeah, there's episodes where it's just clones.
Just clones.
You just got a whole room of the same fucking people. They all look the same, but because they're written so well and acted so well, you can constantly tell which clone is which clone and stuff like that. And it's just like little things. It's like, oh, that one's got like a dent on his thing, and he's got like a little bit of yellow here and stuff like that. Like they do it really, really smart. Going up to when Obi-Wan finally finds Grievous on, I can't remember what that fucking planet's called at all. No idea. Doesn't matter.
Oh, disappointing, Dylan.
Sorry, everyone. One of my favorite lines, and this is another thing about this movie. This movie does have one of the top Star Wars meme moments in it, which is when Obi-Wan drops down, and he's just like, "Oh, hello there."
Hi, Mark.
Yeah.
Oh,
hello
hi,
there. My favorite thing about that scene though is Obi-Wan like puts down stuff, looks around, puts his hand up to his chin, does the whole like Obi-Wan beard stroke thing, and then just goes, "You know what? Fuck it," and just jumps down there. Hello there. But that's like one of the top Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan moments to me. That just like best plan of action. Nah, like I'll go. It's such a great moment for I think just that's one of my favorite Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan moments. I hadn't watched. I wrote this down. This is like a Rebels tie-in thing. I hadn't really noticed that. Just tidbit. I hadn't watched Rebels. I hadn't watched episode 3 since Rebels season 2 came out. And in Rebels season 2, they introduced these Inquisitors. For those who haven't watched Rebels, Inquisitors are basically Vader's squad that are helping him round up the remaining Jedi or any Force-sensitive babies and killing them, basically. It's like, hey, is that a Force-sensitive baby? Fucking off with its head. Like, because they're still being born. Like, that's the thing. It's like, everyone's like, oh, they wiped out the Jedi, but Force-sensitive people are still going to be born. That's
the what?
Like, still thing. Force-sensitive people. Like,
No, you
born.
said Jedi.
Jedi.
Jedi?
You said
I missed
Jedi.
a fucking word. Whatever. So there's these Inquisitors in season 2 of Rebels that have these like double-ended lightsabers, but they like spin around in like a helicopter. Like they just like press a button and they constantly spin around like a motherfucker, and they literally use them to fly, and it's quite ridiculous. However, watching this, as soon as Grievous like starts up and he starts like spinning those lightsabers around like a motherfucker on the ground, I'm like, oh, here's the beginnings of the helicopter lightsabers, and I never even noticed. It's like all coming back. Everything ties in. Everything makes sense. It's probably not actually a tie. It's probably no, it's not very effective. The Order, I just wrote down, Order 66 scene makes me sad. It still makes me sad watching it. Like that's actually a really sad scene to watch. They go for all the planets, just seeing all the Jedi get betrayed, fucking shot, all the characters. It's like sad as fuck.
So
I hate it.
based on knowledge you've given me and spoilers I have for watching some bouncing around stuff, why doesn't Order 66 affect some of the clones, aka Rex?
They explain all this. Well, listeners, you probably guessed what I'm about to say in a second. They explain all this in the Clone Wars animated series. They do a several-part episode in like season 5 or 6 where some of the clones, one of the clones discovers there's a chip in his head. And he takes it out and everyone thinks he's going insane, like saying there was this shit in his head and like blah, blah, blah. Well, it malfunctions at first, I think. Like the chip goes off early. And he like starts going a bit crazy, and everyone's like, "What's wrong with him?" And then they operate, and they find there's a chip in there. So that's how they explain that some of the clone troopers found out about this, and they cut their own chips out before it was activated. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
It's as simple as that. Like they saw this, they saw one of their friends, their troopers or whatever, going crazy. They talked to him. They find out about the whole chip thing. They cut their own chips out because it's like in their neck or whatever. And that's the other thing. People are always like, how does Order 66 work? The chips were implanted as soon as Palpatine found out about the clone troopers, years and years ago, during episode 1 days or whatever like that. It's like, we're going to put chips in them.
order in.
Yeah, basically.
It's like, I'll pay extra for those microchips.
I'll pay extra for the chips. The chips was always part of the plan. Like, which is another thing.
Can we just say that this is the most convoluted plan to take over the universe ever? I'm going to start a war, and I'm going to lead both sides.
Fucking worked. It fucking
it's
worked.
really it's actually really smart though when you like break it down, because he needed like he just wants himself to win, right? Like he doesn't want to be on a side. And by the end of this, Palpatine kills off both sides because it was basically the Republic, which if you want to put it as like the Jedi and all that stuff, versus the Separatists. And Palpatine was playing both sides as different characters. And by the end of this, he kills off all the Jedi and all the Separatist leaders. And it's just him left as Emperor. So you can't really say his plan didn't work. It fucking worked amazingly. And he needed the war, because he needed so he basically wants war to happen to cause the...
He needed to...
destruction, to put distrust in the galaxy, like all these sorts of
He
things. Like
needed
it's
the
a very
war
long
to
game plan.
make his Palpatine character more powerful, correct? Like, he had to set himself up politically, so when all this shit did happen, it was really easy for him just to be Emperor.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. It's the long haul.
Yeah.
It was always the long haul.
Long con. It was like
and
the
it
only
worked.
plan that ever works in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, basically, he's the smartest person. I wrote down the shot of Anakin taking down the Separatists is honestly one of the best shots in the entire franchise. It is one of the best frames in the franchise. And I'm talking about the shot where Anakin's like looking back over his shoulder on Mustafa after taking down all the Separatists, and his eyes are like all orange and like looking evil as fuck and stuff, and he's got the hood on, he's like looking over his shoulder. I think it's the shot you took a picture of on your Instagram. Yeah,
I did.
that is one of the
went
best shots in Star
super
Wars
quick.
history. Yeah.
How did his is it the dark side that makes his eyes change?
I fucking don't know.
Is it the
I don't know,
midichlorians?
Max. It just looks cool. It just looks cool.
looks cool.
Fucking
That's
who
what they
cares?
needed to include. They needed to include a section where Darth Sidious gives him a cloak.
A cloak, yeah.
Yeah.
He
doesn't
had this
get that
really
quite
long
yet.
hood.
Or was it like stowed away on his jet or plane or whatever? His spaceship. That's probably a better term. You left it there for him. Gift.
No. Fucking God.
To Anakin, love Palpy.
Introduction pack. Starter kit.
Starter kit, how to be a Sith.
Sith starter kit.
That is not a thing. What's this, Lego Star Wars?
It should be.
But yeah, no, I'll just write that down because that's like another reason there's like whenever I think about all the things I really like about this movie, there are some of the best things in all the movies is in this. That shot I think is one of the best frames, most famous frames in Star Wars history. Like it would be up there in like my top 5 best shots. And then of course like there's the saber fight we're about to get to is the best saber fight in franchise in all the movies as far as I'm concerned. So like I mean this movie has a lot going for it. When you and it kind of overthrows a lot of the faults to me because I'm just like, well, this is the best of any of the movies. Like I know this is the best of all the movies. I wrote down a part that made me laugh out loud, which is when Yoda walks into Palpatine's room and he just kind of easily just like force throws back those 2 royal guards and they hit the wall like so weirdly and just tumble to the ground. And he's just like, and they like fucking fall to the ground. Like, what the hell?
Even Darth Sidious hitting his chair looks awkward.
Darth Sidious hitting his chair was my follow-up. Like, I just laughed out loud because it looks like it's out of a comedy movie. He just tumbles backwards. So stupid. Oh, God. Yeah, and I wrote down the Anakin versus Obi-Wan fight. Like, no matter how many times I watch it, it's so good. I don't... It is just the best. That's the type of... That's the type of fight I really want out of The Last Jedi. Like, I enjoyed Rey versus Kylo's fight, but that was like 2 people who didn't know what the fuck they were really doing, and like it's just more about... And Kylo's not even trying to kill her, really, so it's not like a full-on proper fight. The Obi-Wan versus Anakin fight is the fullest, most... Like, it's a long fight, it's drawn out, it's like probably 20 minutes or something like that. It goes over several different areas. There's lots involved with it, the choreography and everything like that. And it's just 2 dudes, like, they're properly, like, fast, just they're trying to actually kill each other. And, like, that's the only time we've had a fight like that in the franchise.
Why doesn't
A
Obi-Wan
fast
just
fight,
kill
Vader versus Anakin is... Vader versus Luke is a lot more slow. What'd you say?
I said, why doesn't Obi-Wan just kill Anakin after he amputates him? Put him out of his misery.
No, why doesn't he just pick...
That seems like a pretty
Why doesn't he just
fucked up-
pick the little fucking shit up? Just chop him on your shoulder, take him back to your fucking ship. What's he gonna do? He's your brother, you can try and fix him.
He thought he was going to die. He was just leaving him to die.
He could have saved him. He could have just fucking up on his shoulder.
Why does he want to save him? He
Because
came there to kill
they're
him.
brothers.
No, he came there to kill him,
But-
and then he's staring at him thinking he's going to die, and then he kind of says that last line and walks away thinking he's going to die. Because
That's pretty
he's on
messed up
fucking
for your
fire.
brother.
That's your brother.
fuck
Let
that.
your brother burn. He was your brother.
He said, you was my brother. Now you're a piece of shit. Die, cunt.
At least finish the job.
Nah, fuck it. Let him burn in hell. And I mean, he's really burning. That scene, yeah, even when I was watching it again the other day, it's like that scene where his body just starts on fire and he's just like melting away, and just hearing him like, bleh, like the way he's yelling and stuff like that. Like, it's a hard watch. I can't imagine like young kids watching that scene not getting scared. It's pretty intense.
Full on.
Still full on. And yeah, he's limbless. It's one of the more grotesque moments of Star Wars, I think. Still, it's up there. And then my last note on the movie was, I wrote, the only part of this movie that I hate, and the only scene that made me like cringe, like, oh, was when Vader stands up and yells, "No!" It's the worst. I don't know why they have to do that. It makes no sense. It makes no fucking sense for him to stand up and yell no. I can't even picture Anakin doing that, let alone like in the Vader suit. Like, not once in the franchise has he put his arms up in the air and just yelled out no.
Maybe that was part of they didn't show you the part with the robots like stand up and yell no to tell us that the suit is working.
Nope.
Like
That is not a
maybe
thing.
that was part of it and just cut away.
What is everyone's theories or theories they like to believe on why Padme dies?
So are we all going with the without knowing Anakin drained the life out of Padme to stay alive? Theory?
That's the one I like. That's the one I like.
Is that that's the theory? Because that's the one I appreciate and like.
That's the one I appreciate and like too, yeah. How about you, Ash?
I think it's just brokenhearted.
Oh God! Can we
Fuck's
kick him off this?
sake.
Can we kick
It's
him
true.
Off? We need to get a
True,
ring.
people die of a broken heart.
We need to
It's a
get
fact.
for next week. We need a ring.
When an old person dies, their partner can die really quickly afterwards
Dylan,
because of heartbreak.
Dylan, we really need
What
a
the
third
fuck?
person. We need another person to
You're
like.
breaking my heart, Annie.
Dylan, we need somebody else.
Yeah,
man.
we're gonna have to bring someone in to help next
You
week.
have to
I
bring
think.
next week. No.
For people who don't know, the theory is that basically Anakin, in such like pain and like tapping into the dark side fully, there as he's kind of spitting it, he basically steals the life force out of Padme without like meaning to. Padme, and he uses it to keep himself alive. Like,
I don't know. Giving
That's how he
birth
does
to
it.
twins naturally, that takes a lot out of you.
I hate you, Ash.
They came out in quick succession as well.
They usually do, I think, don't they? In space, anyway. In space, no one can hear you, twins.
It could have just been a vacuum, like thunk, thunk, you know. Like.
These space
got
robots,
droids, why don't they
they just put a vacuum up there and just... There's a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Any is any wrap-up
Did you want to go back
thoughts
to
or
the Mace
things?
Window fight? I don't think we ever got.
Yeah, I was about to say,
around
we can
talking
do that now.
Just,
Any
no.
last
The only
few
quick
things?
question is: was Palpatine's voice supposed to get fucked up after that fight? Did because his voice goes really weird, like directly after that fight.
He does it whenever he's not talking whenever he's being dark side Sidious, even in episode 2, like when he's on the comms and stuff, he kind of puts on that
Do it, Lord. Do it now.
yeah. He goes, he lets out his proper dark side thing. Even in the episode 1, it's like, my apprentice Darth Maul. Like, he's even doing it then.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just like, it's like Batman. It's like his Bruce Wayne is talking normally, and then when he lets himself loose, he's...
Even though we didn't see much of it in the original series, in the original 3, which Emperor do you prefer? Like, as in actors.
It's the same actor.
Is it really? Is it the same for both?
It's the same actor. Yep,
No
it's the
way.
same actor as in the
No,
original
from the
trilogy.
originals.
From the originals?
Yeah. It's the same actor in episode 6.
Really?
Look at him pull up his phone and go, no fucking way, Dylan. It's
second.
You're making me want
Hold
to double
up,
check.
give me a second. Holy
We're
shit,
doing a
it
live-
was!
Blowing your fucking mind, mate.
That was the sound of my mind being exploded.
Why couldn't it be him? Because in episode 6, he's like in full makeup
Oh,
and
he's
stuff.
in
Like
prosthetics. Okay.
yeah. So like when they have him play like the un-makeup version in this, no one's ever like, he looks older.
No. Isn't he? They changed it. They reshot it. Because I'm looking up here, and it says episodes 1 to 3, episode 6 and episode 6 and no, sorry, they changed it for 5. Episode 5 he was apparently on the DVD and subsequent releases.
Yeah, there was like a deleted scene scenario and stuff like that happening.
Okay, Clive Revel in episode 5 original release.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you look that footage up, it looks fucking terrible.
Okay.
But episode 6 is where everyone knows Palpatine from.
Okay.
And that was the same actor.
Okay.
There we go. Any wrap up? Anyone else got any wrap up thoughts for episode 3?
Disappointed there wasn't more Jar Jar. It was quiet the whole movie.
It was very good,
It
actually.
was because
That's
he was
another
working
reason.
his Sith. He was doing his Sith Lord shit.
Yeah, fucking.
He was doing his Sith Lord shit, you know?
He has 0 lines in this movie.
Working that
the only
Senate.
time we see him is when he's looking all sad, and he's just like, "Oh, that's really sad."
Did he really have to kill all the younglings? The poor younglings.
I know that's a horrible moment in the movie when
What
the
are we
guy's like,
doing, Master
"Lord,
Skywalker?"
Mr. Skywalker, what can you
Mr.
save us,
Go
please,
super
sir?"
English. Oh,
That's the
Mr.
accent he
Oh,
has.
Mr.
He says,
Skywalker, what you
"Master
doing there?
Skywalker,
What you doing
can
there?
you fucking come help me, mate? Like, I don't know what to do. There's all these people out there. Can you save us? Zoom. Why you pull your lightsaber out, my master?
On our $10,000 Patreon tier, it will be Dylan reenacts the entire Star Wars.
I'll do it. Do
You'd
it.
do it for way cheaper.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think it's wise to send one of Darth Vader's kids back to Tatooine?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're just like, send him home.
That doesn't
No,
really
the
make
thing is,
sense
right,
if you're trying to hide
It's
it.
because he hates sand. Why would he ever want to go
Oh,
there? He not just the
that so
fact that
makes
he
sense.
hates sand.
No shit. As you say, don't hate sand. So they put out in one of the first comic book series they put out when like the now canon ones Marvel do was they did a Vader series, and Vader never goes to Tatooine, literally because he hates sand. He doesn't want to go back to his home planet
hates
Tatooine.
sand. You hate sand when you're a human. What about when you're like in this like leather suit with like all this breathing apparatus?
Gets in them cracks
Sand,
and stuff.
sand
Fucks it
cannot
up.
be good for you. Like sand,
Yeah, fucks it up.
Also, Obi-Wan Kenobi, why are you such a terrible person at like disguising yourself? Like even like this is going into episode 4 a little bit, but Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan he was a bit of a smart guy. So you all right, steps for when you're going into hiding. Step 1, change your name. Okay, so my name's
Ben Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. So people around here are going to call me Old Ben Kenobi. Okay, Old Ben Kenobi. All right. Now to change my appearance, I need to get a new... No, I'm just going to wear the same clothes. I'm going to wear exactly
I'll
the
just
same...
get old. That'll change my appearance.
Exactly the same clothes. I'll get old, really old in that short space of time. And I'm a Jedi, but I better stop being a Jedi of any kind. Oh, but people round here refer to me as a sort of wizard. Yeah, you're spot on there, Obi-Wan, for your hiding in plain sight there, bud. It's just
He's a smart man.
he's
Also, I just remembered, I forgot to write this down. I love the part where Yoda's like, I'm going to teach you something for you to practice
Yes.
on your time away you have, don't you? Like, they quickly explain how he knows. I swear that George was, like, finishing up this movie. He's like, fuck, I haven't explained
Force
how
ghost.
he turns into a Force ghost.
Okay, but if they have to
Qui-Gon.
train for it, how does Anakin become a Force ghost at the end of the?
because
episode
he's
6?
got all the metachlorians.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. He's the chosen one.
He's the chosen one.
Yeah,
He's
that
just
makes
like,
sense.
fuck,
Yeah.
He
He
unlocks
just
all
gets
the
a free.
powers.
He gets a free pass.
And it reverts him back to
eternity.
like his young form. He doesn't even revert back to like old form. That's
Yeah.
you know what. That's
By the
what-
way, if you want to know, because the question is, because Yoda says to Obi-Wan, I can teach you this. The question then automatically is, how the fuck does Yoda know this? They explain that in the Clone Wars as well.
is it?
Qui-Gon turns up in the Clone Wars.
He's like,
Speaks
what?
to Yoda. Spoilers.
I'm a Force ghost.
What up? I'm a Force Ghost,
up,
yo!
Another okay.
What up?
That has spawned another question for me. Why did it ever bother you before they imposed Hayden Christensen into the newer cuts of the movie?
Yeah.
Did the age of the actor that appeared in the original ones, did that ever annoy you? How old that guy was? Like he looked like he was in his like early 30s.
Well, he would be that old.
Like he looked like
Did he? No, I always thought he looked like 60, 70 to me.
No, he
Yeah.
looked like he was like your dad.
You're thinking of Hayden Christensen.
No.
Also, we're jumping to like episode 6, which is 30 weeks away, but I don't mind them changing to Hayden Christensen's face there. Like, as far as everyone complains about it,
No.
I got a list of things to complain about before that.
Should be
I can't
how
wait
you
to
look
watch.
when you die.
I can't wait to watch New Hope with all the added CGI shit that he added into it.
Yeah, we can talk about
Oh, I'm
that
so excited.
next week. Stay tuned next week. All right, let's wrap up the
probably
show
wouldn't
with
know
last.
the difference.
So they put out a Last Jedi trailer teaser. I don't know what the fuck it is. Are they calling it a trailer? I have no idea. It's a 45,
They call it a
46
teaser.
second one. They call it a teaser. The most noticeable, there's two really cool shots in it. Like it's a good trailer. It's like a very quick, like with the music, 45 seconds and the music that's playing.
There's
and the way
lots of Luke.
it cuts to a bunch of shots. It's just like it gets you like kind of like it's like a really good trailer. But there's a shot of Luke walking into the Millennium Falcon in it, and it like lights up, and that's really cool
that is
to see. Like
That is
a
really
beautiful
cool.
shot.
That is really.
that is a really good shot. And then the second shot that I think is the most talking point one off this would be right at the end when they cut from Luke saying it's not going to turn out the way you want it to, or whatever the hell he's saying, and he's lying on the ground. They cut to a shot of Rey that looks like she's standing like above him, and she's got her lightsaber out. So it's like, oh shit, and that's where the trailer ends.
There was also, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, like it was really quiet and you had to kind of like really listen in. So when Luke turned on all the lights in the Millennium Falcon, under his breath you could hear him say, "Now this is pod racing."
Oh, you're terrible.
Fucking hell.
Terrible.
It's fucking terrible. I think on the trailer scale, I think that this 45-second one shows more than the like 2-minute proper one.
Yeah.
In like a very quick way. So if people are like, which trailer should I watch, the short one or the long one? I'd be like, watch the long one. I swear it like gives away less. It's more like a tone piece. But this has a few more shots. Like the shot of Luke on the Millennium Falcon. Don't know, maybe I would have rather just seen that in the movie, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. And then the last thing in Last Jedi news this week that I want to talk about is just a quick tidbit that made me quite happy today. I watched
Much anticipated tidbit.
much anticipated.
Teased at the
tidbit.
front,
I teased
at the
it.
start of the
I
show.
teased it at the start of the show. I watched today the Star Wars show, which is the second best Star Wars show you can watch. This is the best one. It's on the,
Well, you
the
can't watch
official
this.
Star. Yeah, well,
This
no,
is a
you can't watch
podcast.
this. You can. This
This
is
is
pod
listening
racing.
audio.
This is you can listen to the Star Wars show on YouTube.com.
That's what we should have called the show.
Slash-
This is pod racing.
No, this is
Fuck off.
podcasting. This is podcasting. I think there was already one called
that's-
that. I think I already looked
Yeah,
at
there
it.
was already one called that. They had Kathleen Kennedy on the Star Wars show, which is the head of Lucasfilm, and she reveals that there are baby porgs in The Last Jedi. There's going to be a shot where there's porgs and there's little baby ones next to them, and it's going to make me cry.
Are they're like tinier versions, or are they like
They're like
feathery?
little chickens.
You know, like
They're
baby
really
penguins?
furry, I think. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't handle it. It's going to melt me. It's going to melt me. Help. See
Mel-
me in the cinema melting into my buttercream popcorn.
December 15. Dylan's heart grew through 3 sizes.
It's going to explode. Oh yeah, that's all I got for Last Jedi news. Just that was my big tease.
That was the most important thing.
It is important news because it means that maybe they'll put out pop vinyls for him, and I can continue my Porg pop vinyl collection. Please help me, someone. This has been Alderaan Explosion. I hope you're enjoying. We're 3 weeks in. We've officially just ended. Well, actually, I was about to say we've officially ended the prequel territory, but we will be watching next week Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, which is technically still a prequel movie, and after that we will be watching A New Hope. So next week we'll be talking Rogue One and A New Hope. We're going to be watching those movies back to back, which these two haven't done before, and you should be excited because it is quite a cinematic, great journey. And you know what? We're probably not done talking about the Clone Wars, to be honest, because Saw Gerrera is in Rogue One, and I'll probably bring up Clone Wars because that's where he originated from. So if you're sick of the older Clone Wars talk, you got at least one more week of that shit to go at this stage.
How did Saw Gerrera turn into Forrest Whitaker?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Next week on Alderaan Explosion.
Is there an explanation? Have they retconned that in yet?
No, everything's got a retcon.
Give it time.
And an explanation. And if they don't, I'll come up with one before next week. Where can the people follow you, Ash?
You can follow me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEY, HOBLEY.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Ciaran, where can the people follow you?
You can find me in the Death Star's cantina telling Kylo Ren to go order something healthier, or on Twitter at your boy Ringo. YAB.
What's he ordering that's unhealthy?
Well, I don't know. He just looks like a kid that's just... He's probably smoking. Eating, like, you know...
You want to buy some death sticks?
Like, yeah.
You don't want to sell me death sticks. I don't want to sell you death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life? I want to go home and rethink my life. That's actually a good scene from that shit movie. You can find me trying to figure out where the fuck Maz Kanata went when she disappeared in The Force Awakens. She comes out, she says to Finn, "Here, you got a lightsaber, here's your weapon." Where the fuck does she go?
See ya.
We'll find out. There'll be...
She probably got, like, secret tunnels.
You can't wait for the comic book to be released for that.
Fucking can't wait. You dumb rant. Follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, VIVALADIL. We can find me probably tweeting about Star Wars a lot more. Talking about Porgs. I talk about Porgs.
Do you like Porgs?
Yeah, I do. I fucking love me some Porgs.
He fucking does.
Just link Dylan all your Porg fan art.
Yeah, make some.
Sure.
Make
You see,
and
yeah,
if
just-
you can,
just tweet at
if you're
him.
good at art,
If you can make fan art of me,
draw
yeah.
Dylan with a Porg, me with a pod racer, the pod, and Ashley with Jar Jar Binks, and tweet it at us.
Yeah.
And you can tweet at Explosion Network at Explosion Pod. Don't forget to go to www.explosionnetwork.com for all the great shows and other things like that. This is a spin-off mini-series podcast. We do all the main podcasts over there. Thank you. Stay tuned. We'll catch you next week to talk more Star Wars. May the Force be with you.
I got a bad feeling about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy Cruzy Mate here with all you need to know about November here at the Explosion Network. Firstly, we would like to extend a big thank you to everyone who donated to our Extra Life campaign to help the big, beautiful kids. You can check out all our challenge videos going up on YouTube over the month of November. While you're over there, check out all our PAX coverage, the Explosion Network's first convention. We have a bunch of videos going up on all the games we played over at bit.ly/Explosion Network. Also, our Best of 2017 awards start in late November, so get pumped for that with more information to come soon. And don't forget, Alderaan Explosion continues every Friday at 12 PM if you want your weekly dose of Star Wars hype leading up to The Last Jedi. And you know, all our weekly shows will continue. Pleasure on Mondays, Plat on Tuesdays, and Grandstand Gurus goes live on Thursdays, all at 12 PM. And finally, we will be returning to full form over on twitch.tv/Explosion Network with all our weekly streams. So keep your targets locked on explosionnetwork.com for all of the explosive content. Plat, plat!
Welcome to the best unofficial... You fucking cunt.
Leave that in. That has to be left in.
I'll move it to the end.